This episode is brought to you by the Abundant Life Masterclass. I truly do believe that women can and should have it all. If you've ever felt like you had to choose between an amazing, booming business or career, a loving marriage, amazing friendships, and having the family you desire or financial success, this masterclass is for you. I'm sharing my 5 secrets to creating a truly abundant life. Click the link in the show notes or visit mymoneymogul.com/class to sign up. Again, click the link in the show notes or visit mymoneymogul.com/class to sign up. I'll see you there.
You did not wake up today to be average. So why are we living that way? I truly do believe that God wants us to be wealthy. God desires for us to live our best. You can have everything that you want in this life. You can have the money, the family, the marriage, the business, the car, whatever it is that you want. You can have it. Wealth is your birthright. You deserve to be wealthy. These are the secrets of a money mogul, the keys to living an abundant life.
Hey moguls, welcome back to another episode of the Secrets of a Money Mogul podcast. I'm your host, Jalesa Ann, and I'm so happy that you decided to tune into today's episode. I'm on a mission to help 1 million women reach financial freedom, and I know that you are one of those women. So I help women heal their relationship with money so that they can make and keep more of it. And I do that through this lovely medium of podcasting, through coaching, through courses. And I'm so excited that you decided to tune in today, because today is one of those days where we are talking about one of my favorite topics, which is money. We're going to be talking about financial habits that you should be practicing daily, y'all. And I just want to say that no matter where you come from, no matter what your current situation is, no matter, what your family tree looks like or what your circumstance looks like, it can change. At any time, you can decide enough is enough. I'm going to get my act together. I meet people who make tons of money but have no idea where any of their money is going. So they're just blowing through it because they have unfulfilled needs that they are trying to satisfy through spending or through portraying a particular lifestyle or through, trying to get validation in others. And, I also meet people who are money hoarders who just, hoard all their money and they're just afraid to spend any of it because they're so fearful of being without it. And, two of those two extreme situations are a sign that you may have a bad relationship with money, and it may be holding you back from really living the abundant life that you desire. And it may be holding you back from really getting the things that you want in life and really being happy and fulfilled like you want in life. So today, I'm going to be talking about the 5 financial habits you must practice daily in order to live a financially abundant life. So before I get into that topic, I got a few announcements for you guys. If you have not heard, I'm speaking at Podcast Movement. I cannot believe that it is coming so soon. It is going to be August 13th through the 17th, something like that, through the 15th. I think it's through the 17th. So I'll be speaking at Podcast Movement. I'm doing a session on Wednesday with Michelle from Michelle is Money Hungry. And I'm so excited to be doing that session. We're going to be talking about marketing your podcast. So if you are going to Podcast Movement, if you're going to be in Orlando, please DM me. Let me know you're going to be there so I can look out for you. Come to our session. I would love to have you sit in and chat with me about growing your podcast. So that's one thing. And y'all, if y'all haven't signed up for the Abundant Life Masterclass, a friend of mine is telling me, why are you making that class free? That class is free right now. Free. There's no cost to sign up. So if you are interested in taking that class, for right now, it is free. I don't know if it'll stay that way, but for now it is free. So definitely go ahead and sign up and take the time to go through that masterclass. That class is definitely life-changing. It gives a lot of really good information and some of the stuff where we may talk about today. So that is that. So let's get into today's topic. First thing I want to talk about is the very first habit that you must practice daily in order to live a financially abundant life. And that habit is prayer and gratitude. So one of the things that I used to struggle with was feeling like I was missing out, like I guess they call it FOMO, feeling like, here are these people living all these beautiful lives on social media. They're traveling the world. They got the best bodies and they got the best looking families and all these things. And I felt like I was missing something, like something was incomplete in my life. Like I was missing out. And one of the ways that I really shifted that perspective and the way that I really just, stopped focusing on what I do not have was to focus on the things that I do have, focus on the things in my life that I love, focus on the things in my life that bring me joy, focusing on the positives, right? Expressing gratitude for the things that I have, for I think there's a saying that says like the things that someone's praying for the things that you have right now. And it's so true because when we just take the simple time to shift our focus and focus on the things that we can be grateful for, even if we have to start small, even if we have to just say like, I'm so thankful that I have the voice to speak with you guys on this mic. I'm so thankful that I have the technology to broadcast to you guys from the comfort of my own home today. I'm so thankful that I have the health to wake me up, to get me out of bed this morning, So whether it's, just physical things like, I'm so thankful that I have the sight, I have, the health, or I have whatever it is that you have, beginning to be thankful for the small things, thankful for your ability to make money, because maybe you don't have the millions that you're desiring right now. But the fact that it's even possible, we live in a day and age where anybody can can change their lives and make money. If you live in America, I know that this podcast is listened to all over the world. And I thank all of y'all who are listening from another country. But if you live in America, like you have to accept the fact that our country in itself makes you wealthier than most of the world. So if you have some of the necessities like electricity and running water and just things that you can just be thankful for. I think you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say here. Like, learn how to be thankful, learn how to be appreciative of the things that you currently have, even if it's just your ability to go out and create the life that you want. So maybe you don't have it now, but the fact that you can wake up and go create it is a financial habit that you must practice daily. And I always add prayer with my gratitude. Y'all know how I do. I have been spending a lot of time with God. And if you didn't listen to last week's podcast episode, you might want to go back and listen to that one because it was a good one. But I practice prayer with my gratitude. So that's the first habit. So the second financial habit that you should be practicing daily is committing to increasing your financial knowledge. Here's the thing. Nobody starts out as an expert. Nobody comes out of the womb knowing it all. Nobody, comes out being the guru. Nobody's anointed or appointed to be, head financial person. If y'all get what I'm saying. It takes time. It takes studying. It takes a thirst for knowledge. It takes pursuing that thirst for knowledge, and one of the things that when I started my financial journey, I knew nothing. I don't know if I mean, let's just say I knew nothing. It was bad. I'm not even going to go back to that time. Just know that it was bad. I knew nothing, but I took the time to study. I took the time to learn. I took the time to just go to the library and check out a book, because back then I wasn't even buying books. I was checking out books at the library, which is still one of my favorite places. But it's free to get a library card and go check out a book on financial literacy. Go check out a book on changing your money mindset. Go check out a book, that helps you to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. Go check out a book on starting a business or running an e-commerce line or whatever it is that you want to do that's going to help you get the abundant life that you're craving. So I decided to grab a couple of books off my bookshelf that have been very helpful to me in my financial journey. Now, I just want to warn y'all, I love reading books about money, wealth, and money mindset. So it was hard to even just pick these few that I have, and these are not just the end all be all, but these are a great to get you started. So the first one that I want to talk about is probably my number one book that I would recommend for anyone starting a financial journey. And it's not even fully on finance. It's mainly on success. It's mainly on success. Yeah. So that book is Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy. And that's strategies and skills that will unlock your hidden powers to succeed. If you guys don't know who Brian Tracy is, I think he's best known for his sales coaching. And when I was younger, my mom used to listen to Brian Tracy all the time. So that's really the person that kind of introduced me to his work. But this book, y'all, is amazing. It's all about having the skills to be successful. And he talks about a lot of personal development, but he talks about goal setting, a lot of things that really just help you in your financial journey. He talks about he talks about a lot, y'all. Definitely get that book. I could go on and on and on about that book, but Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy, strategies and skills that will unlock your hidden powers to success. The next book I'm going to recommend is The Law of Success in 16 Lessons by Napoleon Hill. So Think and Grow Rich, which is one of the number one success books that most successful people will quote as being like one of their top 5 books of success, was actually taken from this book. So this is the original book, and then he condensed it into Think and Grow Rich. So basically, a lot of the principles that are in Think and Grow Rich are in this book, which is The Law of Success in 16 Lessons. I used to be a huge Susie Orman fan, so I've read all of her books. And I used to watch her show when I was first starting on my financial journey. I used to watch her show every Saturday night when it would come on MSNBC, or I don't remember what channel it came on, but I used to watch her show all the time to increase my financial literacy and increase my knowledge about money. And one of my favorite books by her is The 9 Steps to Financial Freedom: Practical and Spiritual Steps So You Can Stop Worrying. This is a great book, especially from beginners, because she has a very basic way that she explains things. And it's just very easy to understand. And I know this book was written, I don't know when this book was written, but I know it was before the recession, but a lot of the principles are still they're still practical for today. So another book, which is probably top 5 to any successful person that you ask, anyone on a financial journey is probably going to quote this book. And that's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I love. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's Robert Kiyosaki. He talks about his rich dad, which was actually his best friend's dad, who was a business owner and had a completely different mindset. And then he talks about his poor dad, which is actually his dad, who was actually not in fact poor, but he talks about, the poor mindset that he had. He was a government worker. And he just talks about those two dynamics. So the next book that I'm going to tell y'all about is The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. This has to be probably one of my favorites. If I could only recommend two books to you, the first book would be Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy. The second book would be Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. I love this book. He talks about declarations or affirmations and speaking over yourself and over your money. He's talking about mastering the inner game of money. He talks about how rich people are committed to being rich. He talks about different wealth principles, and I love listening to this book on audio. So I actually own the physical book, which I'm looking at right now, but I also own this book on audio, and I listen to it constantly because I love how he says all the declarations at the end of the chapters. So that's one of my favorites. Next one, y'all, is The Rules of Wealth. And this one is by Richard Templar. And this one is somewhat new to my library. I think I got this like maybe 2 years ago. The rest of these books I've had for years. But this one is probably one of the newest ones. And basically he has over 100 rules in this book. Like each page is just a different rule for financial success and financial wealth. So just an example, he has rule number 37. Rule number 33, learn the art of deal making. Rule number 32, you have to work hard to get rich enough not to have to work hard. That's a rule. So I love this one because it's a quick read. Sometimes when I'm just like, listen, I need to it's a great book to increase your financial literacy day by day, because you can just read like one habit a day or 2 habits a day. And before you know it, 365 days have passed and you've gone through all the habits several times to the point where you're actually starting to implement and recognize them. So that's another great book for beginners. And y'all, only got 2 more and then I'm going to move on to the next point. So like I said, y'all, I have a huge library of books about money, wealth, and money mindset. So the next book is from one of my favorites, my favorite working woman. This woman changed my life so many ways. She's one of the reasons that I'm sitting here talking to you on this podcast today, because she really did inspire me to really launch my business. And when I met her in person years ago, she is just as authentic and genuine in person as she is on TV or in this book. And that is Patricia Washington. So Real Money Answers for Every Woman: How to Win the Money Game with or Without a Man. Y'all, I love this book mainly because she covers so much on mindset. Which is very important, because I know a lot of people who have all the skills. They know what they're supposed to do. A lot of y'all listening, you're supposed to be saving 10%. You know this, but it's just about so much more than that. You have to have the right mindset in order to be successful. And she also has a podcast called Redefining Wealth. So if you're not subscribed to that, I know I'm giving y'all a lot of to-dos here, but definitely subscribe. Okay, last and not least, Jen Sincero. So I read the original Jen Sincero book, which is, I don't curse on my podcast so that I don't, get the little flag from iTunes. So I'm just going to say, you are a bad, y'all know what I'm talking about. You are bad at making money. Master the Mindset of Wealth by jinsan. So, this is also something fairly new to my library because I think this book only came out like a year ago or so. This is really good. And this book actually reminds me of another book, which I don't have right here, which is Wallace Wattles. Oh my gosh, what is the name of that book? But it's very similar to that. A lot of the principles are very similar. And I think she even probably mentions Wallace Wattles in this book, if I remember right. It's been a minute since I've read it, but I love that she gives you prompts and journals and things for reflection in this book. So that's going to be the end of habit number 2, which is commit to increasing your financial knowledge daily. So the third financial habit that you should be practicing daily in order to have financial abundance is you need to think about your ultimate goal. The truth is that most people are focused on the right here and the right now. What do I need to do right here? What do I need to do right now? And the difference between wealthy people and people who are broke or people who are poor, a lot of the time is time perspective. When wealthy people make decisions, they make decisions based off how that decision will affect them way into the future, time perspective. So, for example, a wealthy person might look at a particular purchase. So we'll say a car or a home, and they'll say, this $20,000 that I'm going to spend on this car, how is this particular decision going to affect me in 20 years, in 30 years, in 50 years? Versus a broke person might just say, I want this car. I got the money for it now. Let me lease it on payments, so that I can stunt now, versus thinking, what happens when I pay cash and invest these payments and that money grows in 20 years? So that's the type of thing that you have to be mindful of. And that is to always be thinking about your ultimate goal. Always be thinking about the end result. And that's one thing that I love about kind of the movement that's going on amongst the financial community, which is called the FIRE movement. That's what I love about the FIRE movement, and FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. Don't worry if you guys are like, I've never heard of this movement. What are you talking about? You don't need to necessarily know all the nitty-gritty details. I do plan on going more deeply into that further in the future in this podcast, because me and my husband have caught the fire. So I am, working to achieve my own FIRE goal. But that's one thing I love about the community, is that you create this number, which is called your FIRE number. And that is your ultimate goal. So from then, every financial decision that you make, you are making it in the mind that, is this going to get me closer or further away from my FIRE number? So what is your ultimate goal? If your ultimate goal is to become financially independent, if your ultimate goal is to replace your working income with passive income, you're going to make decisions a lot different than somebody whose goal is to just make it through this week. Right? So that is going to be habit number 3. Financial habit number 3, that you should practice daily, which is to think about your ultimate goal. Okay, so the fourth financial habit that you should practice daily in order to live a financially abundant life is to know where you stand financially. And that's a daily habit. And to me, it's just about checking your accounts daily, having some type of system that you can check your accounts daily. And one of the reasons that I say it's necessary to do that is because, I don't know about you guys, but I was an avoider. I am a recovering avoider. So if I didn't have to look at it, if I could just pretend that it didn't exist, if I just didn't face it, for me, that would just make my life so much better. I would just continue on as if I was not completely in a financial mess. But having to face it day in and day out or day in and day out see the progress that you're making, it's empowering. Not only is it empowering because you get to take back your life, right? You don't have this thing that you're hiding in the background, trying to hide from. You're actually facing it. You're actually seeing, okay, I'm not necessarily where I want to be, but this is where I am. And hopefully that's further than where you were. If you're taking small strides and small steps every day, it's going to be further than where you were. So you can celebrate that you're not where you used to be, but you can recognize that you're not at your long-term goal, or you're not where you want to be. So it keeps you focused on what are the action steps that I need to be taking daily. It also helps you keep alert for fraud, because fraud is real. And it helps you be mindful of what you are spending and what you are in fact making, because if your income is not where you want it to be and you're checking your accounts constantly, you know exactly where you stand. You know that this month you might turn up in the red because you're spending more than what you're making. That's going to make your actions a little bit different. That's going to make you hustle a little bit more. That's going to make you work to find possibly a side hustle, possibly, get a promotion at work, possibly start a business on the side, do something to increase your income so that you don't end up where you are again. You can begin to progress. You can begin to look back a month from now and know that things have gotten better. So that is the fourth habit, which is to know where you stand and check your accounts daily. So the fifth habit is the fifth financial habit that you should practice daily is to not hoard money. And that's a little bit about what I was talking about in the beginning, which is like people, when you are so afraid to spend money, so fearful, like you live in fear, you just hoard money, you don't allow it to flow, you don't spend it. And I like to think of it like as the butterfly example. Like if you caught a butterfly in your hand and you squeezed it real tight, you would kill it. And sometimes that fear of being without, that fear of loss, that fear of not having enough money overtakes us to where we actually begin to create it in our life, because our actions, we begin to just try to squeeze it so tight that we don't focus on the bigger picture. And sometimes it can allow us to become stagnant. It can allow us not to be as ambitious as we should be, to not go after the promotions that we should be going after because we're afraid we'll look a certain way, or, we're too afraid of denial that we actually don't step out on faith. It can just cause us to be stagnant. And that's not the abundant life that I want to live. And I know for a fact that's not the abundant life that you want to live. Like, I know that y'all listening to this call want to live the life that God has called for you. Like, I say this all the time. I don't want to leave nothing on the table. I want all that God has for me. Every single crumb. I want it all. So I don't want to be a hoarder. One thing that I dislike about parts of the fire community, not all of the fire community, but it can encourage extreme frugality, and that's not necessarily the life that I want to live either. Like, I want, I practice what I preach. I'm all about keeping your financial goals in life, but still living a good life while you're working to achieve your goals. Like, it's okay to cut back on eating out. It's okay to cut back on spending. It's okay to cut back on vacation so that you can reach a particular financial goal. But there's no way that I'm going to do absolutely nothing. There's no way that I'm going to be eating ramen noodles all the time so that I can reach my financial goals. Like, there has to be a balance. How can I live an abundant life and still meet my goals financially? How can I occasionally have date night with my spouse and still meet my financial goals? How can I save for my kids' college fund, but still be able to give them some of the luxuries and some of the pleasures that I wanted as a child? What is that equal medium? What's that happy place? So not to the point where I'm like extremely frugal, that I'm not living life at all, that I'm just living in fear about spending money, but also not to the point where I'm just spending all my money and not thinking about the future. So that's all I have for you guys for today's episode. I thank y'all for listening. I know that I gave a lot of information in this episode, so please be sure to check the links in the show notes. Sign up for the Abundant Life Masterclass. Tell a friend. I know that you know 3 to 5 people who could use this information, so please be sure to share it with them. Tag me on social media so that I can reshare it. And I thank you all for listening. I will catch you guys next week. Bye.